Reference to hostile community does not mean the collective community, but as the Honorable Minister has mentioned, this is an organized group that attacked the barrack, as we have seen, and of course this is taken care of under Chapter 5, which calls for reconciliation of communities. The agreement was signed in 2015, as we know it. It collapsed in 2016 and revitalized in 2018. This was meant to consolidate peace and security. But we haven't seen this happening. That is why the incident of Nasir has sparked this level of political crisis. So what this document does, it calls for government to sit back, address this issue through a political process, which is why it calls for security to be strengthened. It calls for electoral mechanisms to be supported so that we can have elections by the end of transition period. And indeed, political parties that are signatory to the peace agreement were expected to organize themselves to participate in elections that were meant to have been held a year ago. However, one of these political groups, as mentioned, the SPLM refused to participate through the implementation of the peace agreement and instead insisted on running a parallel military that attacked civilians. So the hostility that we have seen with communities is evidently supported by some of the partners to the peace agreement. That's why they have been influenced to attack military installations. And the remedy to this, as the continuation of the peace agreement calls for, is to emphasize on reconciliation, which is a reconciliation of communities as articulated in Chapter 5. So I thought that needed to be emphasized, that we are not referring to the collective as a community, but that communities have been organized, supported by SPLM-IO to attack military installations. So those ones, of course, are evidently hostile, and the government, when the implementation progresses, will engage them through reconciliation processes. I think the investigation has been adequately mentioned. And what we need to know as journalists is that there's a lot of information on media that you're already aware of, and I'm sure nobody has not heard that there is an investigation going on to those individuals that are in conflict with the law. And of course, we cannot preempt. We're not supposed to talk about an ongoing legal process.